Hey everybody, welcome to Goots' Wrestling Pod. I am your host, Ray Goots, and today it's ground zero. It's 9/11/11. Um, it's so funny they're doing ground zero in September. They had no idea what was coming. But it's in your house. I'm here with Kyle. Kyle, how you doing, Kyle?
I'm good. What's going on, everybody?
What's going on, brother? Pratik, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing all right. How's everybody doing? Happy October wrestling. Yay, let's do it.
Yay.
So I do want to talk about something I thought was really funny. I mean, obviously, I don't think what's happening in this country is funny. We are falling into fascism every day. However, last week on AEW, they had ice commercials, and Hangman Adam Page went to Blue Sky and said, "Fuck ice, let them know." And the internet acted like Hangman went to see the Warner Brothers headquarters and kicked their ass and got them to take off the ice ad. So apparently, all 14 of his followers writing emails to Warner Brothers did nothing because the ice commercials were back last night. And I
Yeah,
thought that was very, very funny. Now, it's funny because I just feel like if Hulk Hogan in the 80s didn't want an ad on the show, he would get the sponsor removed. And it did. And Hangman Page tweeting blue skying on Blue Sky did nothing to remove the ice ads. And in fact, they were also on NXT. So, Kyle, what's your thoughts on Hangman Adam Page failing to stop ice?
I mean, they're on all of them. They've been on Raw, Smack, not Raw because I think because of Netflix, but any program, SmackDown, NXT, TNA, it's been on. I obviously I don't like it. I don't support it. I think Hangman Page tried. I think because I heard they were confiscating anti-ice signs as well. I think it's one of those things where, look, Tony or Hangman can be as liberal as they want. Warner Brothers is not. Warner Brothers does not want to piss off the administration right now, or the FCC, or the head of the FCC, so they're just gonna let whatever happens. I do think if somebody with a cloud of Hulk Hogan in the '80s had a problem, somebody they would listen more. Adam Page, unfortunately, or fortunately, is not Hulk Hogan. So yeah, he's not at that level, but I don't like seeing them, but I don't think there's anything that we can really do about it. I'd
Yeah,
rather,
Pratik,
sorry, I'd rather us do something in real life than the fucking commercials.
what happened?
I said I'd rather us do something in real life about ICE instead of the commercials.
Yeah,
Not
I
to make
mean,
this like political.
no, no, no. But yeah, that's the thing. It's like it's just like these ads are gonna. It's also I think it's just on the Max feed also, and it's like only in certain areas. Like these commercials are randomized, so it's not like I don't know. And I just feel like if Tony Khan had such a great relationship with the Warner Brothers, I think he could be like, can you not randomize these ice commercials? But then again, Tony and his dad did I think Tony's dad did help out Trump, so I don't know. It's just I don't know. It just everyone thought that like everyone acted like fucking Hangman Page was like, not on my watch, and the ice ads were gonna be gone, and they were surprised that they were still there. And I'm like, bro, in the grand scheme of things, Hangman Adam Page is like, I don't know. He's like fucking Raven in 2005 as a TNA champ. Is he gonna get it? Is Raven in 2005 gonna be like, I don't want to see any ad? They're gonna be like, who are you, you homeless man? Shut up. I appreciate it.
uh, yeah. I mean, I don't support that organization. But I also agree with Kyle that how much are the ads going to do versus like policy? Like, maybe Tony could also run some vignettes. Why what we're doing is wrong. Like, there's other ways to be an activist than going after the commercials. And I also think they're not. I was trying to watch the on demand feed yesterday on TNT to see if the commercials were there because I don't believe I saw them. I think it is more of like the HBO Max feed, which I personally have vocalized on this program. If you try to watch the Max feed right after it airs, it's clippy, it's freezy. I don't particularly like it. I usually try to watch it a day or two afterwards uh, on TNT on demand. I find it's better. Or sometimes what I used to do is I would just DVR the TNT feed because then I would get the picture in picture, and that'll cover up the commercials too. Then I can watch some hold spots instead of an ice commercial. So I might start doing that again. I have some room on the DVR. Maybe I'll start DVR and just so I can watch it in between. I know a lot of people with VPNs. This might become the VPN plug. Like, if you get the VPN, then you can just watch commercial free. The stuff in between. So maybe that's what I need to do. So it's beyond just the ice commercials. It's more just about like I don't want to miss the stuff in between.
Well, I do have a way of not seeing the ice commercials. I have not seen the ice commercial, and the secret to that is to just not watch either shows and watch wrestling on DVDs,
Yeah.
which doesn't have any commercials and also doesn't have a Hangman Adam Page, so it's automatically better.
I don't think I hate Hangman Page as much as you do. I don't hate him at all. But
I do like the idea though, because I remember when before he won the title, they did the Arena Mexico show, and I remember Hangman Adam Page opened that show in and he spoke in Spanish, and so I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to make him the white baby face, and so I see what his intentions were. I don't know how much. This is clearly a step above him. This is a money. This is a Tony Khan. This is a money.
This is what I think should do. This is what I think they should do. Instead of just write emails to HBO Max. Fuck that. This is what I think they should do. Every week, you know how like they had Lee Marshall on the road on WCW? Every week they should have Hangman Page has a little like small commercial where he's like, "Hey everybody, if you don't like what's happening in this country, here are some places you can donate to." And I know for a fact there's charities out here to help illegal immigrants legally fight against ICE to avoid deportation. Hangman Page or Brody Lee, well, he's dead, but he can come back to life if he really cares about this country. I'm not Brody Lee, Brody King.
Brody King, yeah, because he wore that was big at the Mexico show. He wore like that abolish ICE.
Yeah, I don't need you to wear. I need you to wear a shirt every week. Promote charities that help out people when they get targeted by ICE, and ask fans to donate to them, because who gives a shit if you don't see the ICE commercials? ICE is still going to do what they're going to do whether or not there's a commercial on AEW or not, and right. It's just all it is like you don't want to acknowledge that the world is falling apart and you're watching a shitty wrestling show that no one's attending. That's what you want to do. No, fucking put your money where your mouth is. Don't buy the AEW action figure, which nobody's buying anyway, and donate some money to these charities to help immigrants fight ICE. I think that would be the better use of Hangman Page's time and Brody King's time, rather than wearing a shirt and sending two words on blue sky, and everyone acts like fucking Hangman Adam Page like storming fucking the White House to take back the country, and it's pathetic. Anyway, Kyle, your thoughts?
What about for CM Punk, just to play devil's advocate, because he comes out with the shirts and the trans rights shirts? Do you think
he should
be doing the same thing?
He should do it too, but like right now, like no one in NXT is upset about the ICE. I wouldn't even know there was an ICE.
Yeah, I don't think anyone in NXT is upset about it. Unfortunately,
they're working for ICE and NXT. But what I'm saying is, like, I wouldn't know there was an ICE commercial until Hangman Adam Page did a thing and everybody threw him a parade. So
I've seen it on so many different like not just wrestling, just whatever's on. It's like it doesn't phase me as much anymore. It's just like I fucked this commercial, and I'd rather see the people. You see people on Instagram like trying to help people. I saw one the other day where the bunch of people came together to try and stop ICE from taking this poor man.
Neighborhoods, I'm seeing like the local neighborhoods. If you go on Instagram, especially, like they're reporting what neighborhoods they'll be at. Especially in Chicago, businesses are refusing to let them use the bathroom and eat. So,
yeah, I'd rather that.
That's a community effort. I think that's great. But also, like Tony could just do like Fight for the Fallen. Couldn't that just be for relief funds and all? Like you don't.
Yeah. It could be, absolutely. They have a whole charity program.
They could put out a special shirt on PWTs that if you buy it, the proceeds go to fight ICE. There's a lot of things they can do rather than write an email. Actually, I wrote an email to HBO Max. Keep up the good work, and you should tell Tony Khan to fire me. I did. I'm sorry. I hate what's happening in this country, but I hate Hangman Adam Page more. I think he's such a loser.
This duality. Like, ICE can take me, but Hangman Adam Page, I don't want him to help me.
Yeah, this feels more like an anti-Adam Page issue.
Bro,
ICE could take all of us at this point, unfortunately.
Man, they're going to come to was this time to be doing ICE promos right now.
No.
Well, they're going to come to you one day and be like, you can either lose all your rights We either you get all your rights back and this country's a democracy again, or Hangman Adam Page is tarred and feathered and sent into the ocean. You lose all your rights, and I'll be like, take away my rights. Let's get rid of this Hangman Adam Page guy. You know
I don't sign off on that. That is a Ray exclusive.
what I'm saying is, do we need rights if AEW is still on the air? We don't. So we got to do what's right. Um, do we need rights?
Happy Title Tuesday, everybody.
Yes, I was gonna title right Tuesday.
Well, no, it's Wednesday. It's Wednesday.
Well, yeah, now it's Wednesday, yeah. Or Friday when
And
the people are
there's no
watching this.
dynamite tonight, right? There's no dynamite tonight, right?
No, they're taping Collision,
Yeah.
and I think that's gonna air Saturday. Their
Right.
second home. They got a lot of homecomings. It's been like a homecoming for like 2 weeks.
Every
Well,
week is a big show here, which I mean, I get what he's trying to do. You know?
Yeah.
It's funny to me that last night was NXT versus, let's just say WWE. I know they call it NXT, TNA versus WWE. And I didn't watch it. I watched and I didn't care. And whereas even if they did this 5 years ago, NXT versus TNA, oh my God, I would have fucking. There was also like the world was shut down, so like but I really would have like woke up looking forward to TNA versus NXT if it was like 2020 or even further back 2015. I would have been like, oh my God, this is gonna be the best day. Like, and it happened last night. This big it was basically they originally called it an invasion, but then Israel threatened to blow up WWE, so they had to change it to Showdown. But this was basically Invasion 2, and it just didn't have the same effect.
I think the change in the tone and showdown is really what hurt it. And also it being 2 weeks, like just everything is kind of happening in 2 weeks. You could have made it because they weren't gonna do anything big before Bound for Glory. So like
Yeah.
nothing crazy was gonna happen right before Bound for Glory. If you waited till Halloween Havoc or make your own special Peacock show, I think it would have been better. But this was just kind of like an exhibition. And maybe that's the long-term goal. It was like an exhibition kind of show, where outside of the Hardys winning, nothing like crazy happened. I was hoping for something bigger to happen, but it just didn't.
You know what's wild to me? Like if you were getting into TNA now and you're like, I want to watch all the title changes from beginning to end. I don't. You have to watch not just TNA, but you eventually have to watch AEW because Kenny Omega gets the belt and the title changes on Rampage,
That was on
and
the
then you
first episode of Rampage, yeah.
on the first Rampage, and then you have to watch NXT. And I think that they should book a TNA title change on Raw because that would, or even WrestleMania. Well, but also like if you're watching like I want to watch like all of the title I want to watch all the title defenses the champion had. That also involves WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
So you're watching Dynamite, you're
But Joe
watching
Hendry didn't defend the title.
well, he didn't, but I'm just saying, like, if you want to like follow like Joe Henry's path, you have to watch WrestleMania. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Was it a title eliminator match? So does Randy get a shot at the title now?
I hate the title elimination match
I
so
think
much.
TNA would happily give Randy a title shot if he agreed to show up at Impact. But I think it's so funny. Like TNA is such a. Not only did the company not go out of business, but you have to watch Dynamite and NXT to follow the saga. It's really fucking funny. It's real. This company is it's an insane company. It's an insane company too.
They've had a lot of different changes, ups and downs. They're still here. Every time you think they're out, they're
Still
back.
standing. I think
Yeah.
that's kind of cool about it, and I think also it does draw attention to them more than ever. That's the good thing about this stuff. Yeah, it's a bit convoluted, but it also if you look at their attendance records, they're going up. Their YouTube views are going up. It could lead to a potential. I think, yeah, I think you guys kind of basically said it like, no, this was basically like the upfront presentation for the TNA CW show. That's what yesterday felt like. I only caught like the highlights and I watched the title change with the Hardys. But that's what it feels like. They're trying to do a CW show. But my thing is, why not bring it back to? I just feel like CW, like it's hard to kind of find it, and then like the arc, it's hard to go on the website and find the old episodes. I just think USA is lacking in some programming. I'm sure. What are they going to show? Suits reruns for 10 days a week or whatever? Like they could use another wrestling show. I don't see why TNA can't be like the second, USA, make that the second show on USA. Like
I know they just made a deal with the WNBA. USA is getting really into just like sports with
Okay.
NASCAR and NBA. I don't think they're showing NBA games. NBC
Yeah,
is,
yeah. It's
but they're
WNBA.
showing WNBA games, NASCAR. That new show, The Rainmaker, actually is doing well.
Okay.
So I don't know if they want a second wrestling, especially since SmackDown's doing so SmackDown. But I don't know if you guys remember this when SmackDown had the new talent initiative when it was like SmackDown and ECW.
Mhm.
This was in like '08, '07. I
Yeah.
think you should do that because they brought in Javon Evans, they brought on Zaruka, and it's put like a small breath of fresh air in the SmackDown. I think if you do the NXT TNA SmackDown, it makes Raw look like superior. But just this like new talent initiative thing again, where you're seeing a Joe Hendry, you're seeing the Hardys, you're seeing Mike Santana. Especially if SmackDown still had the 3 hours, that would be even better. I think that would actually help make SmackDown a little more watchable and put eyes on NXT and TNA. But what do I know?
Uh, yeah, like I think that the goal is to get TNA on Wednesdays. Maybe not USA. I know they also have Bravo. They also have there's another network we're forgetting that NBC owns, but like there's
It was
definitely
on
like
Sci-Fi back in the day. Was that ECW?
Yeah, and they're split now. It's Versant. NBC has like Bravo and Peacock or something like that, and Versant is USA Sci-Fi. Like they made their own brand split, which is crazy.
yeah, like there's ways. Or you know what? You can just have TNA on Impact on Peacock. You could just make it live on Peacock. I don't know.
Peacock
There's
would love more program. They're hard on for any original programming. So yeah, just throw it on Peacock. It's
and I
gonna end up
really
there anyways.
and we're getting again another week no update on the archives. And I'm starting to
Yeah.
more and more. I am so fucking. It would have cost me another $2,000 to ship it all over. I am so goddamn annoyed. I got rid of
Just
my
all the
V
DVDs.
and
No.
my DVDs. I'm so annoyed. Again, it would have cost me a lot of money, and my cousins would have killed me because I would have had probably to get storage for these tapes. But like at the same time, it's like if I lose access forever to Judgment Day 2000, I'm really gonna be fucking pissed.
Fully loaded 99. That's a classic.
Another no, but I'm dead serious. Like I want all these shows, but
No,
we'll talk as
they're
we get closer. I think there's
I
ways.
think we're gonna find out in December, just like how we found out then. We're gonna find out in December, like the week before. Like we're like, oh, they're leaving Peacock in a week. Bye. Like they're not gonna give us any warning, which is
They did
very
say they
annoying.
have the archives till the end of the year. They didn't say if they're going to renew it or. If I was Peacock, I would try to keep the archives. I would. I would
would
try to
fight.
keep.
Yeah, fight for it, or like, or because again, then what if the archives aren't going to ESPN? What are you paying $29.99 for? Just like a new
Well,
pay.
I'm not paying $29.99 and not ever if the archives aren't in ESPN
Yeah,
and
then what's the point of this?
they're,
I went on ESPN. There's the only thing that's on there is WrestlePalooza. Like you, if I remember correctly, when Netflix got Raw, they would put like some compilation. Like they were trying to slowly build. Like, hey, there'll be stuff on Netflix, but on ESPN, there's just WrestlePalooza. It almost feels like this whole deal was rushed, and it doesn't feel like there was any thought behind
there's no thought into it and the TKO brass thinks that they can do whatever they want to us and we'll pay. And I think Vince McMahon knew, to his credit, there's a limit. There's a limit that we will eventually be like, we're 40-year-old men and we shouldn't be spending this much money on wrestling.
I mean,
And
you
not 40.
you're absolutely right because I was gonna go to NXT. I'm going to Raw for John Cena. I was gonna go for NXT because I went last March, and the tickets that I got from last March is $100 plus increase from March to now November, and it's like what the fuck? Like
it. It's
what?
it's
Why?
bizarre. Yeah,
like 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 the perfect example is when they brought in your house and Vince was like, I'm gonna do a show every month. He started with the in your house shows being $20 a month, and no, I think it was first $14.99 the first few, and he emphasized on the show like, hey, it's gonna be $14.99 because he knew I'm asking for a lot for you to now buy a pay per view every month when it was 5 times a year, but I'm gonna make it affordable for you. And then once we became addicted, he raised it, as you can see in this show, to 3 hours, and then he raised the price to 30 a month, and then we agreed to pay it. But you can't like if he start in your house and was like, oh, it's $50 a month because you're an idiot and you're gonna pay it. um, no one would have bought it because fucking In Your House one, Sid and Nash, that's like Brock and Cena to me. Like that's just a useless match. So it's like you have to make it when you want more out of us, you have to make it affordable. And they're not doing that anymore because they think we're idiots. And they're gonna learn the hard way. They are going to learn the hard way that no one is willing to pay $30 a month for your stupid Australia show because we already know that this Australia show is not going to matter. Nothing about this Australia show matters, so we're not going to
There's
watch
nothing
it.
exciting about it. Yeah. Or you have Rhea Ripley, one of the biggest stars in comedy. She's in a tag match. Like, why not give her like a showcase singles match or something?
Because this match to them doesn't matter. Um,
The
you know,
tag match she needs to lose, by the way. I mean, I guess we should have did predictions, but I think if the Kabuki Warriors lose that match, that this feud is over. Like they need to win that match. Doesn't mean they will, but I think they need to win that match. And I think Bronson Reed needs to win his match. Otherwise,
That's the
what's
other
the
one
point of
too.
all of this?
he ain't winning. He ain't winning. All right. So I know, dude, I don't even know half the matches on Super Showdown. That's how out of it I am. But I'll
There's
tell you
so
what.
few. So yeah, we literally covered half of the
Yeah,
matches,
it's those two. It's
and
the
then
two crown jewel matches, and I think AJ Cena, and I think
AJ
that's
Cena
it.
and which the fans, I guess, fought for. I guess I'm excited for
Yeah,
AJ Cena, but again, it's not on. I was like, oh, WrestlePalooza on ESPN. This will be on Peacock. No, I believe this is also going to be on ESPN. If I'm not
yeah,
mistaken,
yeah. Everything is off of Peacock now.
except for Cena's last the Saturday
Yeah,
night
Saturday
Main
Night's Main,
event pay per
which
view.
now
So
they're going to cram after this. They're going to try and promote Saturday Night's Main Event
in
in
2 weeks.
3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and make it the biggest thing in the world. And too
Well,
many
there's one
shows.
before the Cena thing. There's one in November, so that's the
Yeah,
previous one. Then you got the one in December, but you also have Survivor Series, and just
it,
there's a lot.
it's all over. It's all over for them.
hmm
It's Jover. The thing about it is I'm not paying. So first, if I were to watch Super Showdown, it's on at 3 in the morning over here, and I'm not gonna be able to stay up till 3 in the morning to watch fucking Super Showdown. And if I wake up later, I'm gonna get spoiled because of my fucking feed. So essentially, I'm paying $30 to watch a house show on a tape delay. In October.
Yeah,
And you're not. Let's be fucking. Let's be realistic here. You're not. You ruined it. You ruined it. You didn't ruin it because Vince had a great plan with the network, which was a great plan everybody loved. And I hate to keep defending Vince, and he's a horrible person, but he knew that like you got to make it somewhat manageable. And if you make it manageable, we'll give you more than you think we're gonna give you. You know what I'm saying? Like as the wrestling fan, we'll buy the DVD, we'll buy the T-shirt, we'll keep the cable
get
subscription.
merch at the house show, and we'll pay the premium for the merch.
Because we think we're not spending that much, and then we get the bill at the end. Oh wow, I bought like 5 wrestling shirts, and I bought all these DVDs, and I bought these action figures. But if everything is so expensive, just I don't have to buy anything. So you know, you know.
yeah.
So
No, you're right.
that's what they're going to learn. All right. So let's get to the show. We're talking Ground Zero in your house. Overall, this is the first in your house to me. Like we've had other in your houses with great matches, which is like Mankind versus Shawn Michaels and stuff. We've had in your houses with great matches, but this is like the first in your house that feels like a legit big show. Like this feels like high stakes, like a real pay-per-view show. And it's also the first one that's 3 hours. Pratik, your thoughts on this show?
Yeah, overall, when I read the card, because I didn't remember this when it aired live. When I read the card initially, I was like, oh, okay, the undercard is all right. But going back and watching it, I'm like, oh wow, some of those matches that I didn't think I would enjoy, like I actually enjoyed. Like there was definitely something, and the crowd was really into it too. I was really impressed with how energetic the crowd was the entire time. So yeah, it definitely went over my expectations.
Kyle, overall, your thoughts on Ground Zero?
I think until the minis, it was under my expectations. 'Cause I remember some of this. I remember Brian Pillman Goldust, and unfortunately, we got another Crush match, which is just breaking my child heart because he does not have good matches as much as I thought he did. But the minis, I think, is when the crowd really like picked up, and then from the minis onward, they cared. Shawn Michaels, Undertaker did their thing. Weird finish, which we'll talk about later. It was cool to see Bret Hart, of course. I mean, we'll talk about it all later, but I thought it would be a better show. Wasn't a awful show, but for a 3 hour show, I thought there'd be a little more.
All right, all right. Yeah, '97 hasn't been meeting my expectations, and this show kind of felt, I think also this show's important because it is the first Shawn Michaels Undertaker match, which no one really talks about this one, but you kind of need this one to get to the Hell in a Cell, which is where like the feud becomes legendary and kind of go, it resonates throughout the company all the way up until 2010. But starting off the show, we have a video package all about Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker. It is almost like Bret Hart didn't even win the title. Vince McMahon is narrating the package. He's going on and on about this feud between the two of them, and then we kick off the show. I was not shocked, but I was impressed. I don't know if I was impressed, but I was like, oh wow, that Vince was doing the narration, the video package. I thought it was overall a pretty hot start to the show. Kyle, what do you think of the video package?
I thought it was good. I mean, it explained what was going on. Just kind of paying Shawn Michaels as a fallen hero to now a villain, and just getting you ready for the show.
And Pratik, what do you think, brother?
Um, Sorry, what was the question?
What do you think of the video package that Vince narrated to kick off the show?
Yeah, no, the one thing I have to give this era credit for, I enjoyed the video packages. For me, it's also a good refresher. I hate to say we got to give Kevin Dunn some credit. They do a good job, kind of with the music. The music is obviously Jim Johnston, but no, I like the way these packages go, and especially going back and watching them. Like, oh, it reminds me of, because I'm not going back and watching Raw every week. We can't even do that right now because thank you Netflix. But it's nice to be able to have some refresher on what's going on week to week, and I think the video packages are really good. But
Yeah,
WWE or WWF, they've been good at their video packages for a long time. So I don't, I
I
can't.
think '97 is the era where they really start getting good, like around this time. Because 98, 99, the video packages are peak. And yeah, so this is around the time that like they really start learning how to do it. And speaking of video packages and getting good at telling people what's on the show, we kick off with Goldust versus Brian Pillman, and we do have a pretty good video package summarizing the feud. Brian Pillman has said that on Raw, I guess, that Goldust's daughter is actually his, and that's his love child, and he screams it, and the kid's 3, so I'm sure that was healthy to put in your head um, at that time. Marlena and Dustin just really like doing what's best for their family. You gotta respect it. And then we have the match. Now, we watched SummerSlam a few weeks ago, and I was not impressed with the Brian Pillman Goldust match. This match was a little bit better. I think these guys realized their limitations. They realized they couldn't put 1991 WCW banger on anymore. So instead, they have more of a brawl. And I think it works. I think it works a lot better than the month before. Brian Pillman does take Marlena's purse, hits Goldust with it, and pins him. So Brian Pillman runs off with Marlena, and Goldust, instead of going after him, just yells and screams in his dressing room because obviously when your wife gets kidnapped, you have to abide by the rules of the match, and you've lost your family to this other man. So he's very upset. The original plan for this, before Brian Pillman died, was that Marlena would eventually turn on Goldust and become Brian Pillman's valet. I did kind of feel like the end of this match is leading towards Dustin Rhodes to come back. Obviously, all these gets thrown out the window after Brian Pillman dies. They do a angle where Goldust dumps Marlena and calls her a piece of garbage and just completely turns heel and becomes the artist formerly known as Goldust. But I looking back, they could have just dropped it and had Goldust and Marlena walk out again, but instead they went down that road. But yeah, I mean, I think this angle was heating up, and obviously, Brian Pillman dies, so it doesn't get to go where it's supposed to go. And this was his final pay-per-view match. Brian, he's dead. Kyle, your thoughts?
It was better than the SummerSlam match, for sure. I think Pillman was just trying to find himself, at least in the ring, just kind of find like a new style. I think we get a little bit of that when he fights Owen Hart a couple weeks later. It's him versus Owen, like a heel versus heel match on the first Raw at the Garden, which is really cool. One of his last matches that we get to see. It's just unfortunate everything that happened. He passed away, and everybody had to pivot, and I don't think it really worked out for anybody. But it's hard to talk about because it's just like it.
It did work out for Sable because she got a WrestleMania.
Jeez.
Yes, I mean it worked out for the people involved in the storyline of
Oh,
Goldust, Marlena, and Brian Pillman. Yeah, it's just I wish we got it to see more. I wish we got to see more of Brian Pillman in the Attitude Era and got to see what he could do. But as we know, we don't get to do that unless you're doing these weird ass AI videos that people have been doing now, where you're seeing Chris Benoit and Eddie Guerrero come back, or MLK turn heel, or Tupac
Yeah, I
he would
saw that.
boogie these fucking
I I think
environmental killers. But it's just
I think these videos are sent by the government because there's a ton of MLK videos and there's a lot where he like forgets. He goes, "I have a dream," and then he kind of forgets. And I think it's to turn MLK into a cartoon character because I'm like, I saw one with Patrick Bateman, which is a spot on Christian Bale, and I'm like, why is everyone making MLK videos and Chris Benoit videos and not making more Patrick Bateman? And why not like Randy Savage versus Stone Cold? And I think these are all government ops to ruin our lives.
it's very possible. But no, it's almost a bittersweet end for Brian Pillman to watch that. So I guess I graded on a curve.
Yes, critique your thoughts.
Yeah, I think going into this, we've seen sort of the heel taking over the child. We've seen these angles before, but there was something genuine about when they, especially in the vignette, when they cut to the makeupless Dustin Rhodes, he's talking in camera. Like I got into the feud. I've always been a Goldust Dustin Rhodes fan, but I had kind of forgotten some of the drama of this feud. I remember the match, but watching the vignette again, it got me into the match, and I think the crowd also was really into it. Like this was a great way to start the show. Like the crowd is on their feet, and they were again, like we talked about, like different kind of wrestling style than the SummerSlam match. Like I think they really just use that ring psychology, and they were like, okay, let's do more of a brawling style, but it worked. Like the spot with the steel steps was great, and then you have like kind of the drama involved, and then good old Earl Hebner taking a great ref bump. That was I missed those. But yeah, you had the angle with the brick and the purse. I think was great. And then yeah, I like that they didn't just cut away from Dustin. Like they actually showed him going back to the like. I almost thought like if you're watching this at that time without knowing what happens, like oh, this is going to be like the white meat face turn for Goldust. Like that's what's expected to happen. I think they could have. I think yeah, instead of turning him heel and doing the artist formerly known as Goldust, they could have done something where maybe Marlena comes back to him and they have like a face run or something, or maybe like another heel kind of takes over the whole stipulation, and Dustin is still fighting to get like the crowd wants to see Dustin get Marlena back. Then I wish they had done something to kind of continue that angle in that way, because I didn't care for the heel turn that comes after this. So, but again,
Yeah,
and
Russo was.
covered by reality. There's unfortunately storylines get changed. So
I think also Russo was using Goldust to like uh put like I can be weird with this guy. You know what I mean? I can do my weird fetish shit or whatever the fuck Vince Russo has in his head. He used Goldust as
the
an
Jerry
excuse.
Springer shit that he likes to do.
Yeah, so I think the plan always was eventually Goldust becomes the artist formerly known as Goldust. I don't think it would have happened right away. I think like maybe he would have became Dustin Rhodes, fought Pillman and Marlena, but I think eventually like I could see like we need Dustin to step up to be Austin's opponent. Let's turn him into the artist formerly known as Goldust and have him go Looney Tune. And I think Russo was always going to go down that path, but I think they do kind of rush it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
There was a fun Jerry Lawler line where he goes, "Marlena, she's had more lips than a napkin." I love those little dated commentary.
I love that Jerry Lawler implied that wants to watch Pillman rape Marlena in the car,
He was cheering on when she's like grabbing. It's like, yeah,
Yeah, it was not great.
and he goes, "Come on, Jamal, what do you think is happening in that car?" And he like giggles and like it's uh, It's a great time to be a woman. And then they wonder why no women wanted to watch wrestling back then. Anyway, so let's keep going. Uh, Now we have the cruiserweight division, and WCW has Rey Mysterio and Psychosis and Eddie Guerrero, and WWF has Scott Putski and Brian Christopher. I will say I just don't think the way that Vince and Gerald Briscoe and Bruce Pritchard and Pat Patterson, their minds operated back then, we were ever going to get a true like WCW cruiserweight division. I just don't think that their minds operate like that. So they're going to instruct these guys to wrestle like they are. I kind of thought this was a fun. This is not as good as the WCW matches. It was a fun like Memphis style match until Putski legit gets hurt. And they have to kind of call the match off. So I can't say it sucked because I don't know where it was going because he got hurt, but it wasn't as bad as I thought. It's not, I think they can say whatever they want. They started this to pull over WCW fans or fans of the Cruiserweight division to watch this. If you're a fan of Rey Mysterio Ultimate Dragon, this match isn't it. This match isn't it. So I don't know. It's fun for me now looking back, but I remember whenever I watched some of these WWF Cruiserweight matches or light heavyweight matches, I thought they all sucked. Kyle, your thoughts on this thing?
Yeah, it's another unfortunate one for Ivan Putski. Not Ivan Putski, Scott Putski. Ivan Putski is his father, but and knowing this happening, I could see it in his. He doesn't move early in the match. Like he flips into the ring, and his knee buckles a little bit, and then
Mm.
from there on, it's like he's fucked, and that's just kind of what happens. His knee eventually explodes when Brian Christopher hits him with the plancha, and that's it. Jerry Lawler, I guess, improvising, like talking trash, helping out Brian Christopher while they're trying to help him up. And it was just it for Scott Putski. I know he went to WCW for a bit, but by then it was 1998. The roster was bloated. There was no real place for him. And I think you could have had, while it was not going to be the WCW Cruiserweight division, yeah, Scott Putski, yeah, Brian Christopher, Sasuke and Takuma Shinoku coming in, and they could have, in their AAA relationship, could have had something nice going. It just did not work out. But between this and the minis match, it made me wonder because I know Paul Heyman and Vince McMahon were working side by side. Did Paul Heyman ever offer up like Rey Mysterio, Psychosis? Because I can see a world in 95, 96 where they're doing the new generation, Rey Mysterio with the mask and trying to appeal to the kids. Like they would have ate at least Rey Mysterio up if they were paying attention. But maybe Vince had no interest.
Vince didn't want Rey Mysterio mask. Bruce Pritchard had to convince him to put the mask back on when he came in 2002. Bruce and Jim Ross
What
were here
a what
a
an
lot of money.
idiot. Okay.
Yeah,
Wow,
you're
I
gonna
didn't know
money. And then I think they made merch money off him right away. And he was like, "Oh fuck, you were right."
Yeah.
And
that.
I mean, that was the Penta mistake in TNA. I mean, AEW. And I don't know if that was a rights issue or what. I don't know why Penta masks weren't sold and why they didn't really push these Penta Phoenix masks. But they just didn't. They pushed them very well. I'm not gonna revise history, but the mask part, the things that appeal to the kids, they didn't really go for. And I think WWE does a better job like that. Really quick tangent. I always talk about to my friend Starlight Kid and Stardom, just this tiny Japanese woman with a tiger mask. I think if she would go to WWE, maybe not talent wise would be the best fit because she's a very fast little girl. But that mask, I can see little girls and boys and fans wearing that mask in the crowd, and they're making a lot of money off of that. So make money off masks is what I'm trying to say. We
Oh,
miss you, Scott Putski.
yeah, I think nowadays Vince would go back in time and sign Rey Mysterio in 1995. But I think in the 95 to 2002 Vince didn't give a shit about lucha libres. I think he thought there was no money in it, and I think he would have. I think if Rey Mysterio signed 95, he would have taken the mask off him right away and like made him like Razor Ramon's intern or some shit. Like
You're
oh my
probably right. They probably could have done a whole Power Rangers thing with Ray, Psychosis, Juventud, and it would
see that happening.
uh, do something like that. And they don't know what Power Rangers is, so they would just do a really terrible job. So I guess it worked out best for everybody.
I think TKO Brass and Triple H understands that masks equal money, and all these guys are just printing money for them, whether it's Dragon Lee or it's Penta or it's Ray Phoenix. The more match,
All the Grande masks are selling too.
Yeah, El Grande too.
El Grande's over huge now. I mean, yeah, and in Mexico he's over huge. I know, like the white Twitter users don't like it, but they're
The
Hey,
key
you
is
can't.
I went to Mexico City in January. We actually went to the Arena of Mexico where they do CMLL, and we saw like the bootleg, like what's popular on the bootleg song. It was obviously Mysterio and Penta masks and Mystico masses. I want to go back and see are there bootleg Grande Americano masks? That's to me the mark of if Mexico's truly on Grande Americo's side. If he's got the bootlegs,
There
he gets
has to be.
huge pops in Mexico. El
they
Grande.
love.
It's not that no, I've never heard because no one is offended by El Grande Americano except for people on Twitter, except for people who sit on Twitter too long. So I mean, it is what it is. I listen. I'm on the streets. I'm fighting nice. Okay, I'm fighting nice. And
You're sending
All
emails,
right.
guys.
While you fight ice, I'm taking a quick bathroom break.
speaking of bathroom breaks, it's the match. 1 year in the making. Everyone's been dying for it. The original Nation of Domination explodes. A triple threat match. I will say this though. This is like the first ever traditional triple threat rules in WWE history. At least on pay per view, maybe on a Raw
They might have
or
done it on Raw, yeah, but I think on pay per view, yeah, you're right. And I kind of liked this, like this. It was there was something different about like okay, you're doing some. I kind of want to say this during the previous when we are talking about the previous match, but it does seem like either Heyman or someone, maybe Pat Patterson, because he's always had Vince's ear, and let's be honest, Pat Patterson, maybe he kind of just because of all the creepy stuff he did, he had some power or weight or whatever. But it does seem like Vince, they were trying to throw some stuff against Paul, whether it's the Torito match or light heavyweight or even like trying a non-traditional triple threat. There was something interesting.
I don't think it was so much Heyman. I think it's Russo. Remember, Russo has more and more power as we get close and close to '98. Russo has more and more say over what's happening.
Correct. Yeah.
Wouldn't be surprised if like a lot of this is Russo pushing this on Vince, whether it's the minis, whether it's the cruiserweights, whether it's a triple threat match with the one pin to a finish rule. I think Russo, you have to give a lot of the credit to Russo on this stuff because when you get to like 1998, it's Russo and Vince doing all the booking. Everyone else is gone. So he's slowly gaining more and more influence.
Hayes wasn't producing as much, or was he just more on air talent at that point? Michael Hayes and Patterson.
I think Michael Hayes was like an agent, but I don't think he was.
Right.
In 98, it was Vince and Russo, and then it became Russo and Ed Ferreira and Vince.
Right.
And when Russo left, that's when Vince started a real team because it was basically like when Russo left for Nitro, it was like you don't have a writer for the show on Monday.
No, right. It was like he had put all his eggs in one person. Yeah.
He emailed them the scripts for Raw and SmackDown, but then following Raw, there was no one to write it. So Vince, like, that's why now we have a writing team. So you never get in that position again. But
I think Gewirtz, if I'm not mistaken, Brian Gewirtz was like an intern at that point. And, not thrown in. And then that's when, I know people talk about Triple H just being uncreative because he was sleeping with Stephanie, but the way the story goes and like Pritchard is he is co-signed is that it was when Russo left that Triple H had said, "Hey, I'll sit in if you want me there." And I do, as much as everybody wants to shit on Triple H about certain things, I do think that he probably started being uncreative before the whole Stephanie thing.
Well, fuck him. Anyway, so it's the triple threat match. I thought this match was pretty good. I was really surprised. I don't know why I was surprised. He's the only face in the match. How much the crowd's behind Crush, but they're very behind Crush. This match was not as bad as I thought, and I think it's a pretty good proof of concept to the crowd and to the pay-per-view audience of how a triple threat match could work. I think these guys do a good job considering that this isn't something that was happening a lot. They do a pretty good job of it. Savio Vega gets the win. Now, the crowd's kind of deflated. Looking back, though, I think that was the best choice because people are behind Crush and Farouk is money, but Savio kind of has the weakest team in the gang war. So I think you need to have Savio win this to be like, hey, this guy's a threat. Because I think when you look back at the gang war, it's almost like Savio doesn't matter. So you kind of had to give him something. So I thought this was the right finish. They really didn't do much with it, but it was the right finish. Kyle, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it was okay. Like I said, I'm down on Crush now after watching so many of these matches. But Savio did, I was surprised Savio got the win. He should have got the win. And it goes back to what we were saying earlier, like a Bronson Reed should get that win. Sometimes you need that person to get that win to keep their momentum going and keep that person in the spotlight, at least look like somewhat of a threat. Xavier Vega being able to get the win on Crush, Crush being able to hit Farouk with the heart punch, and at least these two have some type of momentum now. I think that part was well done. But yeah, this continues on for a little while longer, I want to say,
Oh,
until Crush eventually leaves for WCW.
I think there's an indie somewhere where it's still going on. I go to this day, like this just keeps going and going and going and going and going, bro. It's like never ends.
It's gonna be a GCW, the surviving members
There
of
you go.
each group fighting each other.
Versus Savio Vega and Jesus Castillo or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah, I forgot who the other guy's name is.
Miguel Perez is one of them.
Miguel Perez, yeah, fucking. It just keeps going. Pratik, your thoughts on the match?
Yeah, I thought this was again. It was that thing of in SummerSlam they tried to do like all those tags, the tag teams, and it was kind of messy. Whereas this was better to do as a triple threat. Keep the. I got that what they were trying to do. They're trying to keep the gang war story going. Keep it a kind of a one guy from each team as a triple threat. I thought this match worked. Again, like on paper, I don't know if it was going to work, but like I think they kept it tight. They used the triple threat style. I think that worked. Everybody knew kind of their role in this. Looking at bell time, it was only about 11 minutes. So again, didn't drag, didn't feel bloated. It felt like it felt tight. Every move kind of mattered. And yeah, I think going with Savio was more of a surprise win, and I guess they're trying to keep the feud going. So it made sense for what they were trying to do. They're trying to provide a shock. The dark horse champion or someone a surprise win. So I kind of like it for what it was. And again, exceeded my expectations, wasn't too long, worked, and it kept kind of this feud going. And again, good vignette, good package beforehand to kind of keep me up to date on everything.
Yeah. Okay, up next is they're trying a lot of new things here. And actually, when I watch some of these old pay-per-views, I really enjoy these matches. It's El Toro versus Max Mini. Max Mini is not talked about enough. I thought he always delivered in the ring. He was an incredible athlete for his size. These two go at it. I thought the match was pretty decent. The crowd gets into it. I don't know if this had long, they kind of as soon as they start beating WCW, they dump this division like fucking hard. But I kind of think like they don't have a big roster right now, not compared to WCW. I kind of think that the mini division was a good distraction for a little bit on some of these pay per view shows to kill time and put on some great action. I enjoyed it. Kyle, your thoughts on Max Mini's pay per view debut?
This match was really fun. Like I didn't expect to like it as much as I did. The way that the crowd got into it almost immediately, playing around with Jerry Lawler with the crown and all of that. Everyone just had a lot of fun with this match. And I think after Brian Pillman, which was good, but like probably crowd deflating and Crush. I mean, Savio Vega also losing, which is crowd deflating. Having a match like that really helped get the crowd back into it.
Yeah, no, it was great. It was great. Pratik, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think I agree with Kyle that yeah, like the crowd was up and down for this pay per view, but I think the Crush victory, while it was a shock, it did kind of because they wanted. I think I think the biker gang was what the crowd was into. Maybe it was a racial element too. Because well, I mean, like the Nation of Domination was definitely meant to be a heel, so I think the crowd just didn't want. They wanted, the badass authoritarian to win. So I think the Savio Vega win kind of took some heat out. But then yeah, this was a fun match. The crowd was definitely into it. I mean, I remember the Jerry's Kid chant. That was hilarious. Timely of the time, but still fun. I'm looking up here. I think what was it? There was something. Yeah, so I guess Max Mini, he was in AAA, and his original name in AAA was Baby Rabbit.
Mhm.
That's
That,
Oh wow.
awesome.
that's and then he
Guys, they
wrestled.
should have kept that.
I
They
think Vince with Max Mini.
I think it was something where Vince wanted, but if he look like Max Mini looked like a Power Ranger, so I don't know if they're well, maybe they were trying to play up some Power Ranger element to it too. So I don't know. But what I am curious is he wrestled El Torito. Is this the same? Was it a different El Torito? It had to be a different El Torito for the WLC match. That was like
Yeah, I want to say it's a different one. I'd be very surprised. He would have lost a lot of weight
he was
and looked a
he was
little
wrestling
younger.
like Goldberg. I can only do three mini moves. All right.
Exactly.
I think he was El Toro, not El Torito.
Oh, that was
The
a different guy completely. Okay.
yeah, the Matadors, the
The man.
Matador, yeah, the Matador guy, yeah. But yeah. And also, like that's 20 years later. Come on, come on. He's like, this,
I'm like, oh, maybe they're just doing like a legacy thing, like Sin Cara, where they've had different people.
Hey, if Bobby Lashley could be around for 20 years, El Torito could be around for 20 years too.
He's squeezing mini lemons with his guns. You never know.
Exactly.
Apparently, they wrestled on Shotgun. Did you guys know that? They had
Yeah.
a match on Shotgun previously, but this was their big. This was the big pay-per-view outing for the mini division. So
I'll tell you the big match: Hornswoggle versus Max Mini. And we need to get that. All right.
I'm doing that on 2K. Where's that? Got to use some mods.
So next up, this is I think the most storyline match of the show. It is the fatal four way for the vacant WWF tag belts. It's the Headbangers versus the Godwins versus the LOD versus Owen Hart and British Bulldog. Sergeant Slaughter comes to the ring and he strips the titles of from Dude Love and Austin. Dude Love gives it over very willingly. Steve Austin though has stuff to say and ends up stunning Jim Ross, which takes him out of the show. The crowd is going nuts. They cut to Vince, who breaks character a little bit.
Mm.
It says even though Austin is well loved by the crowd, he goes off on Austin for attacking Jim Ross, and he gets a lot. He gets very passionate in his speaking, Vince McMahon, about Austin, which I don't. I'm wondering. It is interesting what they're building with Austin and Vince, and I'm wondering if they knew exactly what they were building, or if they were just like taking it week by week. Because Vince, when you watch it, when you look back, you're like, oh my god, they knew where they were going. But I'm wondering if they really did, because there's so much foreshadowing of something that doesn't pop off until March. You know what I'm saying? And the way they were patient with it, just kept steadily building the tension between Austin and McMahon, is really fucking good. Um, First of all, before we go on to the match, Kyle, your thoughts on the angle where Austin stuns Jim Ross?
I think it's good seed planning for Vince, and well, a good way to keep Austin on there. We said this last week that he should not really have been doing any of that, but whatever, he did it. But I think it was a good way to keep Austin part of the show, and I think as well, I think there was foreshadowing. I think there was, but I think also, sorry about that. I think also. I think the Montreal Screwjob kind of fell into their laps. Maybe Mr. McMahon was not going to come as early as he did, or the evil Vince was going to come as early as he did. But after the Screwjob incident and everybody already looking like this guy as a piece of shit anyway, it all just kind of helped this long-term thing that they had planned between Austin and McMahon.
Critique your thoughts.
Again, it was that thing of maybe they didn't know what exactly they had, but like you're seeing the seeds planted from now. Maybe that wasn't their intention, but I think a little bit of luck and timing worked out. This, yeah, you go back and you watch this now. I had the same thought watching. Like, oh, are they just the way Vince turned? It almost felt like, yeah, like you're seeing like the real Vince come out in the commentary, and that's kind of what I've been doing with these deep dives. I try to pay attention to the commentary a little bit too, because it is interesting to see. First off, I just don't remember as a child too much of Vince being on commentary. So to go back and hear it, is like, wow, like, yeah, you see him kind of act like a face for a while, but then you see him turn in his commentary. So yeah, I'm definitely intrigued by this. I think, yeah, the crowd, the live crowd needed an Austin appearance, whether injured or not. So I get why they had to do this segment. Maybe it wasn't originally planned, but I thought it worked well. Everybody played their part well. Dude Love played their part well. Slaughter played his part well. Ross taking a stunner, not the best stunner, but not the worst stunner either. Did his job, and then yeah, Ross is gone for the rest of the commentary. But yeah, I liked it. It got a good reaction, and it shows seeds of what Austin is. You know, he gets to show a little bit different side of his character to the crowd, and the crowd liked it. So yeah, I'm a fan of that.
Yeah.
And it
So
didn't drag either. It was perfect time too.
So then we get the fatal four-way match. It kicks Owen away. First of all, Owen Hart cuts a hilarious promo, he's like fucking Jim Ross's best friend in the whole world, and wants justice for Jim Ross. The match is pretty good, and I will say this: the finish where Austin stunners Owen Hart and then kind of points to the ring. That little moment is in the opening package of Warzone on the PS1. And this is when I got back into wrestling in '98. And there's a lot of clips from Ground Zero because I think that's when the game was finished, was around this time. Because it's more or less the roster of this show is the roster of Warzone on PS1. And Austin, the way Austin stuns Owen and kind of points to him, made him look like such a fucking badass. The crowd is going nuts. I think this was the right finish. The crowd loves that the Headbangers have won, and the backstage celebration with the Headbangers and the face roster. This game, by the way, this is the one that has the opening.
I remember that game.
Yeah. It's so funny. I gave up most of my PS1 games, but I kept my wrestling ones. I mean, you know what I mean. Come on, you got to do it. And even though this game is fucking horrible, I sold Final Fantasy VIII, but I kept this shit. Come on, you gotta.
Bold.
What?
That was bold.
I know. But I do have Final Fantasy VIII on the Switch, so you know, come on. But fucking, you gotta. It was great, and I think it was the right move to have the Headbangers win. This is probably the biggest moment of their career. Uh, you know, you look. Here's the thing with Savio and Headbangers on this show. They're trying, and you gotta try because you're getting your ass kicked. And Vince is. I like the fact that Vince is not like trying to like bring in outsiders. He's like, okay, I gotta make what I have work, and let's give the Headbangers the Austin rub and see what we have with them. And it turned out they had nothing, but they fucking tried. All right, I mean they're still in the video game to this day. So, Kyle, your thoughts?
I liked the Headbangers as a kid, so this was a good for me. I was very happy. I'm sure people would have preferred the Legion of Doom winning. I'm very happy that the Headbangers won. I had their Jacked figure. I loved their Jacked figures whenever they came out. I was a big Headbangers guy, so I was very happy that they won. Yeah, it didn't work out the way that anybody wanted it to, but I think one of them got hurt. I think Thrasher got hurt. I don't remember what year, but he got hurt, and then that kind of was the end of the Headbangers.
By '99 is when the Thrasher got hurt because that's when they made Beaver Cleavage.
Yeah, like around, I think it was around then, but I think it was a good moment for them.
Your thoughts, Pratik?
Yeah, it was a good moment. Again, like a good, like kind of a shock win because I think everybody going into this match thought it'd be, Owen Hart and Davey. So I think it was good that they're kind of like subverting the audience's expectations on this pay per view. I think they're trying to keep people sort of excited, And again, they're also like I think they're really trying to, hey, week to week, you want to watch the pay per view, then you got to go back and watch Raw to see what happens next. Like kind of keep it serialized storytelling. So I kind of got what they were trying to do. And again, like Austin coming out was a good moment, and it's a way to kind of you had this unfortunate accident happening at SummerSlam, but it keeps the angle fresh. It kind of again blending that realism with the angle. I thought it worked great. Yes, am I concerned that Austin is being this physical when he had this injury happen? Yeah, I'm a bit concerned about that, but God bless him for being a trooper and still like I'm going to make that town. I'm going to give the crowd something to go off of. And I think it also plants it really like changes kind of because we see when Austin kind of comes back he's doing more of the brawling style, being kind of more of that badass. Like, I think all these angles, these stunners, they all feed into this character of who the badass Austin is going to become. And I believe also on this pay-per-view there's a commercial for that, like Austin, the Stone Cold VHS or whatever, which I remember.
Yeah, they show it a couple of times.
Which I remember going to Blockbuster. I remember there was like a sleepover where we rented Warzone, the video game, and then we watched the Austin VHS. So all my nostalgia is coming together. It's a nostalgia overload on this pay per view. So
that's a good ass night. That's a good ass sleepover night
in 1997. Yeah.
Okay. Up next is Bret Hart versus Patriot. Now, when I got back into wrestling, I was still following wrestling when the GWF was around, Global, well, whatever the not Global Force, whatever it was, the Global Wrestling show on ESPN. And I remember the Patriot was their top guy. And so when I like looked into '97, I'm like Bret Hart a feud with the Patriot. To me, it's the equivalent of now if like Cody Rhodes had a feud with Alex Hammerstone. Like the top guy of like the fourth company is now here suddenly getting main events. So I was always like, look when I looked back because I didn't really watch this show, but when I look back, when I got back in '98, '99, I'm like, oh, they were clearly giving Bret Hart nothing to work with because nobody cared about the Patriots. Suddenly now he's getting a title shot. Um, However, watching the match, I have to give this to the Patriot. He held his own. Again, he's given a huge opportunity, and I don't think he fucked it up. However, I do think putting the world champion with this guy while Shawn and Undertaker are in the main event, it kind of sends a message that Bret Hart doesn't matter. And at some point in this match, Vader comes out and attacks Bret, and I'm like, well, if you really want Bret to get over and you really want people to be invested in the Bret match, that should have been the match, Vader versus Bret one-on-one on pay-per-view, because Vader still had some juice yet. But I almost feel because Vince knew what he was going to do. Or even though he put the title on Bret, I think sometime after SummerSlam, he realized I have to get rid of Bret. I think that's what before he had the conversation because he has the conversation with Bret at the Madison Square Garden Raw, which is after this. But I do kind of feel like he's like, I got to devalue this guy, and he shoved him with the Patriot because if you really want Bret Hart to get over, I think you put him with Vader and you build up the Patriot for a future show. But I think he's like, I don't give a shit about Bret anymore, so he's gonna fucking fight uh, the Patriot. But it was good. It was a good match. Bret Hart wins, then beats the shit out of the Patriot after the match. This was good. And listen, I got to give this to the Patriot. He's a nobody who got put in a big position, and he held his own. And I just think that the reason why this match isn't talked about more, and the reason why Patriots, because nobody gives a shit about the Patriot, and people just assume this match stinks, but it doesn't. It was fucking good. Kyle, your thoughts?
It was better than I thought it was gonna be. I'll tell you that because I feel the same about the Patriot. I remember him from WCW, being with Marcus Bagwell, and then all of a sudden he's in this world title feud, and I'm just like, no, this guy sucked then, and he sucks now. But this match, fun fact, this is the closest we're gonna get to Kurt Angle versus Bret Hart, just based off the theme songs alone. Hearing that song and then being like, oh yeah, no, it's not Kurt, never mind. Um, but it was a good match. I did like Bret Hart's heel work because Vader attacked him and he's like raises his arm in the ring afterwards, expecting to get the DQ win. And they're like, nope, this is still happening. He's like literally arguing with the ref, like he beat me up and like disqualifying, which he was right. He should have got disqualified. I mean, they should have got disqualified when the Bulldog got involved, but whatever.
Right.
Refs doing whatever they want to do. I thought they made the Patriot kind of look silly going for the sharpshooter to the person who knows how to do the sharpshooter, and then not really tapping, not really passing out. Just an odd thing, odd ending there, but it was a solid match. I didn't expect Patriot to hit that flying shoulder tackle or flying headbutt shoulder tackle. I was like, there's no way this big ass man is gonna dive that far, and he did. So
Yeah.
they did the best with what they had. I do think Bret Hart was, I guess, the way you put it, was on the way out because his feuds start getting a little more ridiculous. He fights the Patriot. They do the whole thing with the race war where he becomes racist, even though he wasn't. Like it does kind of look like Shawn Michaels has the pencil for a little bit, and Bret Hart is getting some bad roles.
Vince, Vince is like, I know this guy can get a big money from WCW. Just get out. I think he's like ready to. Bret Hart doesn't know it because Vince tells him in the Garden. But Vince, I think in his mind is like, I'm gonna make this guy sell for the Patriot for 19 minutes, so that hopefully people stop giving a shit about it.
Because with with hindsight, Ground Zero, you really could have done based off of SummerSlam. The real triple threat could have been the Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart. I mean, those two didn't want to be anywhere near each other, but
It's just weird to me that Bret Hart is just out of that storyline. Like it's almost like it doesn't even matter Undertaker lost the belt. He's mad about it, but it's also like it doesn't even matter. Like it feels like it does feel like Shawn Michaels is the champion, even though he doesn't have the belt. He's like the uncrowned champion on this show. Yeah, it's interesting. It just feels again, it feels like Vince has I got to sacrifice someone, and it's Bret. So even though Bret gets his heat back, but I think beating the shit out of Patriot after the match actually makes both of them look worse. So anyway, critique your thoughts.
Yeah, because I've gone back and listened to interviews with Bret from this time, and he talks about that he was trying to get more creative control. So then part of me thinks like, was he just like, no, like I almost wonder, was the triple threat pitched for this paper? And he's like, no, I don't want to work with Shawn right now. I'd rather try to do something technical with this young guy. You have to remember, Bret also liked to bring guys up and give people shots. So I'm torn if this was Vince trying to just rib Bret and give him this guy, or maybe Bret was like, hey, let's give the Patriot the ball and let's see what we can do with them, because it was like a technical match. And I also, if you look at this era of especially on this pay-per-view, the headbangers are getting a shot at the ball. Like people are getting the ball and kind of running with it a little bit. So I'm wondering if Bret maybe was like, no, let Shawn and Undertaker do their feud, and I'll try to wrestle this guy and maybe make somebody. Like I could also see Bret doing that. But then again, yeah, the match was great. I think on paper, reading the card, I was like, what is this going to be? But it was fine. Yeah, I didn't understand. Like, did Vader and Bret have like a feud before this or something? I didn't really understand the run. And like, do they fight later? Do they fight before this?
They do fight on. I don't remember when Thursday is. I want to say it's like in October
Oh,
somewhere. But
okay.
they fight on like Thursday.
Are you talking about Vader Bret?
I'm just curious. Like,
Yeah.
did this angle pay off in a match?
So Vader and Bret do have a match on a Raw, and it's on the Bret Hart Blu-ray. The last Bret Hart unreleased Dungeon collection. They do have a match. Bret Hart said he wanted to work with Vader more, but Vince was not in the business at the end of '97 and getting over Bret or Vader. So
That
yeah,
makes sense.
he's good on both of them, and they're just there to kill time. But yeah, all right, let's get to the main event. Whatever you think about this match, it's an historic match. This is my first time watching it. It's not talked about enough. People go on and on about Hell in a Cell. People go on and on about WrestleMania 25. People go on and on about WrestleMania 26. But this match is how it all starts. Shawn Michaels comes to the ring, and right away when he walks to the ring, he's a lot better in this era as a heel. All his annoying habits works so much better when you're supposed to boo him as opposed to when you're supposed to cheer him. So he comes out to the ring all arrogant. As soon as the match starts, Undertaker also gets a modified theme on this show. And during the video package, they do mention that Undertaker does have a weird moment where he goes like, people may hold my views against me or something. And I'm like, bro, that's going to be in 20 years. That's going to be 30 years from now when you're promoting Ice. And cast. I don't know. Maybe you still the future, but like I don't even know what your views are in 1997. So yeah, that's a weird moment. I do think also they were trying to make Undertaker more human. Match starts. Undertaker attacks the ref right away. It's a brawl. It's there's a lot of interference. Rick Rude comes out. The Triple H and China come out. We're setting up DX here. Uh, I do think the action is great. Shawn Michaels and Undertaker right away have great chemistry. Like I said, as a kid, when I got back into wrestling, I was like, oh, Undertaker, why was Undertaker struggling with Shawn Michaels? But these guys were made to wrestle one another. They are fantastic together. I do think that they are both each other's best opponents. I really do think that. And this match shows it off. Finish is a big schmoz. Everyone interferes, but this also leads to another famous clip, which they showed all over the place in 1998 and whenever they do Undertaker video packages, Undertaker diving over the heels to get the Shawn Michaels. If only there was a cage. If only there was a way to keep these two confined. I really like this match. Is it as good as Hell in a Cell? No, but there's nothing really as good as Hell in a Cell. But I thought it was a fantastic match, and And I thought it was a solid finish, and it leaves you wanting more. Kyle, your thoughts on Undertaker versus Shawn?
It was definitely a good start to the feud. I think it's surprising that Undertaker and Shawn Michaels mostly avoided each other from 1989 to 1997. It's kind of wild that they really just did not interact. These two big characters in WWE. Maybe like the Undertaker hit the Rockers at some point, but not like when they became like good guy Grey Gloves Undertaker and Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels, they were just on opposite ends, which is very impressive to do. So them finally having this match, this one-on-one match, this feud. Um, the schmaz ending felt very long because like they started that schmaz ending like 10 minutes before they actually like called it. They were just beating them referees and going. That was weird to me. There's also a weird part where Shawn Michaels helps Triple H take the tombstone. It's very quick. Undertaker tries to pick up Triple H with a tombstone, and Shawn Michaels like kind of pushes him in position very obviously, and then they drop Triple H. So I was like, there's no point. And then a fun fact: everyone the Undertaker dives on are his BSK crew. Everybody that like catches him is his crew in that big schmoz. 'Cause I guess they were all heels at the time, but it was a good first start, and it isn't talked about enough. And I think you're right. Shawn Michaels was definitely like a way better role as a heel than the JTT babyface that they tried to make him in like '96.
Yeah. No, did you see the way like Rocky's awful outfit? Like Rocky comes running out in like this
Yeah, he
all
was he was not prepared to be in a schmaz in his loafers and shorts.
it was brutal. I'm like, bro, it's so funny how like, oh, he still hasn't figured it out yet, but he figures it out by like fucking October. It's fucking
Yeah.
crazy. Your thoughts on the match?
Yeah, it was funny seeing like Rocky coming out almost running out like Bo Dallas in the early 2014 era. Yeah, I this match was I don't think it gets talked about enough. I might have watched it at sleepover back in the day, but again, watching it with different set of eyes, different understanding of wrestling, like the psychology is perfect. They are natural for each other. I think it speaks to Shawn. I think this further solidifies that Shawn Michaels really could work with anyone from that era. I think even Bret Hart has gone back and said like, as much as he didn't care for the screw job, he can still acknowledge that Shawn was a good dance partner. Shawn just knew how to have chemistry with all these main eventers in this era, and I think this speaks just how he sold. Like when he's getting choked out with the cables or whatever, like just Shawn knows how to sell him. The psychology was amazing. And again, it keeps you wanting more. I think that's what these again, we talked about like, watching week to week, watching the pay-per-views. Oh, you want to go watch Raw after this? Like, oh, what's gonna happen? Why did this perfect car wreck of all these people showing up and run-ins and the run-ins, oftentimes now a run-in can feel bloated. And I think I almost feel like psychology classes for wrestling need to go back and watch some of these pay-per-views and see like how run-ins can be organic and you can have organized chaos and it doesn't have to just be feel bloated. But yeah, I think there's something to this feud, something to the magic, keeps you wanting more. I felt like felt like I was going back in time. Like it reminded me of being a kid again. So that's my thoughts on this page.
I will say this: from September to January, the casket match. This is the best Shawn Michaels has ever been and ever will be. He uh he is the he's reached his peak as a worker, and he's probably one of the best workers of all time in this. He's got all the insecurities about the '96 run out of his head. He knows he's the best. He delivers in the ring. His promos, that DX shit doesn't age as well, but when it's go time, he fucking delivers. And this is the best he's ever been. And then it kind of after that casket match, it goes away. But uh, he's never as good, and he never was as good as he is in this little era, from SummerSlam to WrestleMania. You
That
know,
is a big take because I think a lot of people would say Shawn Michaels' second run is better than his '02 to 2010 run is.
there's people on the internet that think Shawn Michaels forgot how to work in that era, and
Oh, well, that's stupid.
I've never dived too deep into those takes. It was a lot of pro AEW people, their disease. But I know Shawn Michaels is still good, but he doesn't have what the thing that makes him a little bit better here is he has that arrogance. He has a chip on his shoulder because he's proven that he's the best worker in the world, and all it's done is bring the company to the edge of bankruptcy. And I think he's mad about it. And I think he's not just mad at he's mad at us for not watching, and he's mad at he's just mad, and he's just gonna go in the ring and prove I'm gonna keep proving it. And he doesn't have to he doesn't have to hold back because he's trying to be a good guy, you know? He's
Yeah.
he's just I think he's just really angry, but it's paying off. Sometimes it pays to be angry. Sometimes it pays to have a heart full of hate, which I think Shawn Michaels is very mad. And I would be mad too. I'm the best worker in the world and none of you care. You'd rather watch Roddy Piper and Hulk Hogan in a steel cage. You know?
It'd be like, you're killing it as a comedian, you get all the attention, and then nobody's coming to your shows, and you're like, what the
Yeah,
fuck is happening?
Yeah, which is what's
Where is
happening.
everybody? Yeah.
you have all these guys who have like all these followers, but they can't mobilize their followers to come to the shows. I
Yeah.
You have what we're seeing that right now with comedy. We have comedians who are amazing comedians who are not drawing, and we have some of the worst comedians in the world
yeah.
selling out theaters and millions of followers. And I think here you go. When a comedian gets angry like Shawn Michaels and just starts not giving a fuck. I think you'll see a difference in that guy's career because yeah, I do think there's a lot of I think there's more anger in Shawn Michaels than he lets on. I do.
Yeah, I mean, I know they made little jokes about it when he's like, "Oh, when the DX," he's like, "Oh, I missed the whole attitude era. I started and then I missed it and blah 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 blah." But I think there's some truth to that. Like when he was on top, WWE was at its worst, and at least financially. I mean, you can say things about the stories too, but and he doesn't, as the caliber of wrestler that he is, does not deserve that. Like that doesn't add up. So I think that's why I think he still has that chip, and maybe he's putting that into the minds of the people at NXT now, trying to train like the next best. So when you see say Trick Williams is world champion in 5 years, that's the Shawn Michaels product. The Carmelo Hayes is the Shawn Michaels product. So maybe that's what he's trying to go for.
Daniel Bryan Danielson.
Brian Danielson, Daniel Bryan, uh, arguably still the best wrestler in the world, even though he doesn't wrestle anymore. That's the big thanks to that is Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
I'm also
Um,
wondering if like Seth Rollins, like in this era where he's trying to be the number one guy, he's trying to essentially replicate Roman. Like, I think he
hitting this.
needs that chip on his shoulder to do that. Now, I'm not saying he's there yet. I'm saying that maybe he needs some of that anger. That
37 years old. He better get there fast. If he's not there yet.
Seth Rollins just doesn't have it. He's so everything he does is so unnatural and so forced. He feels like a kid in a school play. It's a wrap for Seth. I mean, we've gotten as he's one of the main reasons I don't watch the show at this point. I mean, it's a wrap, and they're kind of stuck with him. But he's never going to get where Shawn or Bret were. He's just never going to do it.
it's a shame
You know,
because I want to like the guy and he's had great matches, but yeah, I don't know. There's just something about there's something off about him. I don't know. Like I can't get it. I thought it was a good turn that he went with Heyman, but there's something like I can't get invested every week for some
I'll
reason.
tell you what Seth Rollins is. Seth Rollins is what would have happened if WWF went with Marty instead of Shawn. Like
Oh,
you,
jeez.
That's a bit.
you put Marty in the position Shawn was got, it would have been okay, but there always would have been something missing, and that's Seth Rollins. You know,
It's so rude.
but
I mean, I don't know. I mean, this is going back to this week. They tried to tease like if he loses to Cody Rhodes, then he's pretty much done. Which I don't think he's gonna lose. I honestly think I know we're not really doing predictions, but Brock Lesnar's gonna get involved in one of these matches, either the Cody Rhodes one or the Roman Reigns one, to
I'm
set
gonna
up
say,
War Games.
I know why I say no because I don't think Brock wants to go to Australia.
I
Eh,
mean, he's going on a free flight.
I don't
TKO.
think Brock wants to sit. You have to sit in a plane for a long time. I don't think Brock is down for that. I think Brock will show up on Raw or SmackDown to do something because it's a 4 hour flight. And he
Part of
can
me
fuck.
thinks you could have done well. I guess Drew was a heel, but part of me still thinks like you could have ended the WrestlePalooza with Cody losing the title. I mean, he's filming, the movie. He doesn't need to be there right now. And you could have had Drew, you could have had Randy interfere or something, and Drew be the halftime. I just think that would have been a fresher. I think the audience would have been behind it, even if Drew was a heel. But then, yeah, would you have two heels then for this match? So I don't know, but I know the dirt sheets are saying that maybe Randy interferes and Cody loses through a schmaz because it's not actually the title; it's just this blood money. Well, it's ironic because the titles are kept in Saudi Arabia. So are they getting them from Saudi Arabia to bring to Australia? Because That's what I thought the Crown Jewel pay per view is Saudi exclusive pay per view. So it's
Got
kind
it.
of odd that these belts are huge and they were made for the WWE world in Saudi Arabia to be kept on display, but they're being brought to us. So I don't know what's going on. We'll see.
I think they should have ended WrestlePalooza with Triple H being fired and Stephanie McMahon being banned from the building. And then they
Instead of
revealed
getting
that
a Hall of Fame induction, which is
I think with Stephanie gets inducted Hall of Fame, she should reveal that she slept with Macho Man. I think it's time to tell us.
Oh boy.
Let's okay. We got to wrap. I got a head. I got a big.
yeah.
I'm a famous comedian out here, and I got a 4 o'clock show, which is crazy. So let's review the next 4 weeks and wrap it up. Next week it's Fall Brawl '97, NWO versus Four Horsemen and War Games. In 2 weeks it's One Night Only, Shawn Michaels versus British Bulldog. In 3 weeks it's Bad Blood, Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker, Hell in a Cell. And then in 4 weeks it's Halloween Havoc '97. And in that show, we have Roddy Piper versus Hulk Hogan. Age in a Cage. What are we looking forward to? Kyle first. What are you looking forward to, brother?
None of it. No, like I said, I don't really watch the British pay-per-views, so I was like the European pay-per-views. So I would like to see it from start to finish. I've only seen Michael's Bulldog. Would love to see the whole thing from start to finish.
Critique.
Yeah, from an intrigue point of view, the UK pay per view, because I've never seen that one. I've seen like the Insurrection one, which again, great pay per view names all the way around, or Insurrection and Rebellion. But yeah, so I'm intrigue wise, I'm interested in the UK pay per view One Night Only. But I'm also interested in Halloween Havoc. I'm interested in the rest of the card for that. You know, obviously I do remember the main event a little bit, but I'm curious about the rest of the card. So it should be a fun time. I'm excited for these next 4 weeks.
Versus Eddie Guerrero at Halloween Havoc, which
Yeah,
is
that's the
Yeah,
legendary.
arguably the one of the best
and
cruiserweight
then
matches of all time.
jumping ahead in 5 weeks, Survivor Series '97.
Oh,
The Montreal screw job. The moment that changed WWE. I really the end of the new era, and I think I consider that the kickoff of the Attitude Era when they screw over Bret Hart and kick him out. But that changed the company forever. The more time passes, the more important that event is, and we are going to be covering that in 5 weeks. So 5 weeks till Bret Hart's life ends. So much.
life ends.
Kyle, your brother.
What happened?
What do
You broke out. You broke up. Okay. Character select comedy, October 11th at the stand, 6 p.m. We'll be doing that. And then the next one, our anniversary show is November 22nd. Those tickets are also on sale. And yeah, 6 p.m. also at the stand. Come hang out.
Critique, we got to plug, brother.
Yeah, Prateek Comedy, Prateek Comedy at Instagram and YouTube. I have a special on there. It's a half-hour special called October Surprise. In terms of live dates, if you're in Chicago, I'm at Second City, October 9th. And then I'm in Erie, Pennsylvania on Halloween on October 31st. And then I'm in Beaver County, Pennsylvania, November 1st. And there are some November dates and December dates that are trickling in. So just follow me on my Instagram and Linktree, and you'll get all the dates.
I will be at the Desert Rose Improv October 26th. So check me out there. Follow me, Ray Goots Comedy on TikTok and Ray Goots on Instagram and Goose's Wrestling Pod. Please subscribe, leave a comment, tell us why you support ICE. And
No.
we will see you next week for Full Brawl. Thank you, guys.